Hey Squids, Prize1 Squid here, and if you clicked on this video, it's because you want to know what my thoughts are on the XP Pen Artist 22R Pro 6 months after I got it. If you haven't seen the original video, make sure you guys click on it here or here, wherever it is on YouTube these days, and I'm going to walk you guys through it. I'm going to walk you guys through what I love about the thing. I've been using it daily ever since I got it, also in tandem with my iPad Pro, so let's not forget that that is also something that I've compared it to and I use with it every single day. It's very important that I actually talk about that in this. I'm going to show you guys what I use the shortcut buttons for. I'm going to show you guys things that I love about it and things that I hate about it, and see if it's still a good purchase 6 months after I originally got it. So I'm not going to keep you guys too long with the intro. Let's freaking get to it and see if it's still the best purchase for you today. So we are here with the XP Pen Artist 22R Pro. Like I said, I've been using this for the last 6 months now. You guys can check out my previous unboxing, kind of initial review and testing of the unit. I've been using it pretty much every day since then for at least an hour up to about 3 hours a day. Longer if I'm ever able to. But I freaking love this thing. And there are some things that bother me about it, and there are some things that I wish that it had. But overall, this was probably one of the best art purchases that I have made in the last several years. One of the things that you guys will notice, and you probably have seen, is people talking about laminated displays. And so with laminated display, it's pretty much how an iPad works. Basically the glass and the display itself are like meshed and married to each other. This is not. And one of the ways that you can kind of see that is like on the edge. Let me see if I can get this to kind of zoom in or focus. On the edge, you kind of see like over here, you can kind of see like the space. And honestly, I thought it was going to be an issue. It doesn't seem to be an issue for me. Go ahead and start a new project. Oh, this won't focus now. Okay, there we go. I thought it was going to be an issue for me. It really isn't. At first, what I would do is I would try to look at the cursor itself and see what the cursor itself was doing. Now, though, I feel like I'm not looking at the tip of the pen. I'm more looking at just the picture itself, you know? So like when I'm actually drawing, I'm not so much worried about where the cursor and all of that is. I'm more like, where's my pen, or where's the idea of the image, and then it kind of just like meshes. And so moving between this and the iPad aren't an issue for me. I literally use both of them every single day. I switch between them multiple times a day, and because of that, I feel like I'm able to actually use this without any issues. One of the other things that I know people were kind of concerned with was if it gets hot. It doesn't. I've left this on overnight. I've had big projects kind of going on it. It doesn't really get hot. I've gamed on this thing. I don't see any issues with it getting hot or anything like that. So it hasn't been like, the stuff like that hasn't been like a major issue for me. I don't know what type of environment you're in. I'm in a loft. So it's like, it can get hotter up here than it does in the rest of my house, but I haven't had an issue with this in regards to that. So here is the tablet in all its glory, living on its own space. I say that because when I first got this, it had to share a desk with my work setup, which is over here. So it had to share a desk with all of this. Now it lives in its own space. And the reason why that was a major issue is because whenever I was not working, I had to move it. So I would have to come in, and I got very adept at pulling it up, locking it, and then moving it. However, when I wanted to move it back, and this is one of the issues I think some of the build of this has. Number one, I'm gonna have to come in, and you guys are gonna have to have just this up close and personal view of my hand for right now. But I got very adept at having to lock this thing in place. But when I would have to move it, and I would shift it two-handed, you see these little buttons up here? I think I raved about those before. I can't remember. I don't remember everything I said, but one of the issues is that they're touch sensitive, right? So cool, you touch it, turns on and off. Except for it's not a hard touch. So you can accidentally turn this on with the brush of an arm. You don't have to do very much to get it to turn on and off. It wasn't the on and off that was the issue for me. Let me see if I can activate it now that I don't. Yep, there it is, brightness. I have seen this menu more times than I care to say. So I would always come in, I would grab it, I would have to do something, somehow to move it, and I accidentally hit those menus every single time. That to me is definitely a fault of this pen display. I feel like while those buttons are nice, they should have maybe been on the side, or over here, just somewhere where it was not as easy to hit menu buttons, turn things on and off. I've accidentally decreased my brightness from what I really want it to be multiple times, moving this and then having to set it back up. And when you really want to get back into the groove of something, you don't want to go through the process of having to set it back up. And that was one of the issues that I had with this. So one of the things I both love and hate with this device are the number of connections, and I will show you why. The back of my tablet pen display looks like this. Now, mind you, go to the side view, see if you can see it. I'll lift it up a little bit. Where is it? There it is. Okay, so I have these lights plugged into it, which is gorgeous, beautiful. I love it. However, you have to have one cable that goes into your computer and one cable that will go into the wall for power. There's nothing else you can do about that. You have to have those two cables. And because of how long cables are, because they did have to have length and everything, for wherever your tablet might be, and if you put it on an arm and so on and so forth. Let me move this back before it falls. They had to have some nice length. Well, my stuff is kind of like pretty close. So the back of my stuff looks like this, which is kind of messy. I don't really like it, but it is what it is. One of the things that I did talk about was the calibration. You're gonna need to calibrate your monitor, both for how you draw the pen and if you're using another device, such as an iPad. So as you can see, I use Clip Studio Paint on both my iPad and my Mac. And I have it calibrated. So this is on the Mac. This is the XP Pen display, as you can see. And then this is on the iPad. And they look roughly the same. There is not a massive change in colors and how you see things. The resolution is slightly different, but from my point of view, these basically are the same. And so because of that, I don't have an issue moving between the two of them. And I think it's important that you make sure that you calibrate things so that they look visually pleasing and they look exactly the same for how you want to do your art. I've been using, like I said, I've been using this pretty much every day for the last, I would say 6 months, 7 months, whenever I got it. And I've been in Clip Studio Paint that entire time. Every now and again, I'll jump back into Procreate, but I've been pretty much Clip Studio Paint that entire time. And I'm telling you, this has been an absolute dream to work on and work with. All right, now I have Clip Studio Paint open. I'm gonna show you guys some of the options on the sides of the pen display that I have set for my own use. I love the options on the side of the pen display. It is one of my favorite features. It also is one of those features where you still have to kind of use a keyboard, but I feel like the majority of things that I do, I can still just use the buttons on the side of the pen display. So we're gonna start on the left. The top one is my pen tool. And so I already have it kind of selected. I'll actually pick my Squids sketcher, but essentially if I was on anything else, it would just select my pen and then I can just start drawing. Used to have it set up where if I pushed it multiple times, it would go down this list. I stopped doing that because I was accidentally selecting other stuff. So now if I just select something else, even if I go to something and then come back, it'll still stay on whatever I had selected, which is cool. The eraser, however, I do have it set up if I press it multiple times for it to go between hard and soft, because I find that I do use both of them in tandem quite often. The third one down is my blend tool. I have that on the Squid blender. And so with my blend tool, I'm able to just, quickly go in, blend, do my thing, blah, blah, blah. The fourth one down is the hand tool. Now the hand tool, I can't really do it while I'm holding my phone, but it'll allow me to move the canvas around as you do. The Q is the lasso tool. So I have the lasso tool there. Let me click on that. I have the lasso tool there, so I can quickly select the lasso tool. Something that I do all the time. Everybody uses the lasso tool. The wheels. So I have the wheels set up, but there's two wheels on this. So I have them both set up for something different. On the left side, and down here you can see as I push the wheel button here, you see it will move between zoom and brush size. So on zoom, it zooms the canvas in and out. Use that all the time. And then brush size, it'll also, let me make sure I'm on my pen tool, brush size. Where's my pen? There it is. So you can see it will increase the brush size, which is handy, very handy. The next one down is the color, the eyedropper, the color selector. So you can just hold this down, pick your color, and then let go, and it'll go back to your previous thing. So for instance, I'll show you how that works. I'll hold it down and then let go, and as you see, it went back on my tools here. Which is very, very handy. I started making some new ones too. I have lines. So this one is so I can quickly make straight lines in anything that I'm doing. The circles tool, I had to learn how to use the circles tool. So the circles tool, you draw your circle and then you can rotate your circle. And then once it's done, you pick your pen and then you can draw a completely perfect circle, or however you set your circle up. But I have my circles tool because that comes in super handy. I also have a new layers tool. So over here are my layers on my right hand side, and as you see, as I press this, it creates a new layer for me. So on the right hand side, we have delete. So I'm gonna go back to, let's go back to our original layer here. Delete just deletes the stuff on the layer. Boom, there we go. And then the undo will undo it. Oh, there we go. Flip just flips the canvas. So it's not a permanent flip. It's the same thing that's in the navigation. So if you have your navigation window or your navigator window up here, this guy right here flips your canvas. I have a button that does that, so I can just do it super, super quickly. I have the liquify tool, which funny enough, I never use. I don't find that I use the liquify tool very often. I don't feel like I have really a use for it. I'm not saying it isn't useful, but like, I don't use it, so I don't even know why I have it there. It's just one of those things. The next one is going to be the transform tool. So you know what the transform tool is. Move stuff around, regrow, resize it, do all that good stuff. I might actually change out my liquify tool for distort, because I'm finding I use distort more than anything else, and transform and distort I use in tandem a lot. So this one, this wheel and this button, so this affects this wheel. This wheel is rotate and opacity. So rotate, obviously, just rotates the whole canvas. Super, super nice. Opacity, I'm gonna change this back to pen, but the opacity, where is my, oh yeah, I have to transform it first before I can switch back to a different tool. There we go. So the opacity, you see, is right there. Make sure it's on opacity and take opacity up and down, up and down, up and down, which is super cool. This is the mesh transform. So this is the one that comes up with the many different things that you can do this. I use this all the time to fix some of my anatomy that I might not get to, or just different things that I kind of see need tweaking as I'm working. The next one is save. So save is nice because it'll do an actual save for you. It'll actually do a save for you. So that is one of the nice little things that you have there. It copy will copy the layer, and then paste will paste it. So I just made a duplicate of the layer. So that's how I use the buttons on the side. So I need to be upfront while trying to actually draw a picture and do a test run of the picture I'm gonna draw for this video. My lasso button got stuck. And so none of the buttons will work. I could not change back to pen or anything. I even went and I closed the Pen Tablet app. So this is the app you have to have up for all your buttons and stuff to work. I closed this and it still didn't work. So that is interesting. There's nothing stuck on the sides. The tape for it is dead smack in the center. So I don't know what that was about, but that's a little interesting aside. I'll leave in the part of the video where I was struggling and trying to figure out what was going on. You'll see the camera will be over this away and you'll see me struggling with it. So that is something very interesting. So that's 6 months in, one of the buttons got stuck. So there you go. So, of course, if you're reviewing a tablet or re-reviewing a tablet, as I am in this case, you have to show yourself drawing on the tablet. Duh, that's exactly why people buy the pen displays and tablets and everything like that. So for this one, it's a little bit of a speed paint. I'm doing Bida, which is one of my characters from my Mage series, which is not a comic series or anything. It's just a series of characters that I just kind of draw and redraw and have fun with. But I'm drawing her, doing some coloring tests and everything for my actual comic, kind of trying to figure out how I want to do my coloring and all of that. But you guys get to see what Clip Studio looks like for me while I'm drawing, and then what it looks like on the tablet itself. So one of the things I will just tell you straight up, as you can see, like I'm zooming out. I'm having a lot of fun with having a big view of the pieces that I'm working on. I reach over there, I turn the dial, rotate, everything that I've showed you guys before. And I think that is one of the beauties of having a screen this big. No disrespect to any of the smaller screens, no disrespect to my iPad, but an app like Clip Studio I feel like it requires a 20-inch or more screen. There's people who will tell you different, and honestly, everything is up to how you feel about it. But for me, that 20-inch screen, well, the 22-inch screen is really, really nice, but 20 plus inches is just really nice. You can keep your stuff pretty zoomed out when you're doing your sketching and you're trying to, work on everything. And then when you zoom in to do your lines, because this is where your lines are going to be, and pretty much where they're going to lock in. It's pretty easy to kind of zoom in and keep yourself, use your elbow as opposed to your wrist while you're drawing. Some of the things that I don't like about not so much the pen display itself, but more of the stylus is the buttons. I have an issue with accidentally pressing the buttons a lot, so I disabled them for myself. One of the issues is that they still are read by the program, so there will be times when I'm drawing and I accidentally kind of click it, and it doesn't actually affect anything, but for whatever reason, the program will read it as an input even if nothing is being input. So it'll switch from, say, drawing with, doing your lines or whatever, and it'll think maybe something else was supposed to be switched to. It doesn't actually disrupt me a ton, but every now and again it drives me kind of crazy. So that is one of the things that I kind of hate about having buttons on the sides of these styluses. I wish more of them didn't have them. I understand that people love them, but I'm not a big fan of those buttons, but I love the stylus itself and the shape. What you're seeing me do on the screen now is I'm starting to do my gradient work, and for my gradient work I use green as my base color, and then I create a layer over top of it and start doing shading and lighting on that layer. And so I'm mixing two different shading styles here, kind of like the soft shadow shading that I normally do, and then trying out some of the cell shading, because I think that's what I'm going to do for my comic book. I see that in a lot of other people's work, and I'm gravitating towards that because I think I like that a lot. I want to do more of the cell shading for the work and keep it simple and all of that. And then on some of the closer shots or some of the more detailed shots that I might want, add some of those soft shadows. So I'm kind of like experimenting with it here. Hair is one of those things that I still draw. I still like drawing the hair out. I still like having multiple layers of hair. So I have the front hair, I have kind of like the back hair, I have the ponytail, and I have hair underneath. So it's like 4 different layers that I kind of work with. But this is how I do hair, and I love doing hair this way. So I start with my base color of hair, my darkest, and then I go from there and kind of layer it up. So, you know, working on that and kind of messing with that and being able to see the whole character, or being able to see most of the character while I'm working on something, really does help. You can see I was listening to some music there, so switching between different artists, different music artists, and listening to some different stuff while I'm jamming. But you know, like playing with the hair and really getting that going, flipping my canvas. The size of the screen helps with all of that. And I don't know how I dealt with just the iPad with Clip Studio. Obviously with something like Procreate that works, but Clip Studio requires much bigger screen real estate. And I feel like Photoshop probably also requires bigger screen real estate. I don't use Photoshop, but if I did, I feel like it would require that bigger screen real estate. And so something like this, I feel is definitely a shoe-in for that. What I'm doing here is I'm actually doing my gradient mapping. So as you can see, I'll select a color and then I'll pick the lights and the darks for that color. And where I've already done the shading, it takes on the properties of those colors. So I don't have to go in and change the colors and do anything too crazy with the colors or anything like that, which is, that's a godsend. And just going in and kind of erasing some of where I might have had the skin color there. I take that out so that I can go back in and put in the colors that I actually need. And then it takes on the properties of my shading and my lighting layer without me ever having to go in and actually change those colors. And I'm telling you, gradient mapping has changed my life. It has sped up my workflow because I can do my base shading and lighting and then turn around and I can go and do the more detailed shading and lighting on another process, and it's sped up everything by almost 100%. And if you haven't tried it yet, I would say try it. It might not work for everybody. I know some people want to do more of the painterly style, which is gorgeous, but you can use gradient mapping for all of that. And I think it works for pretty much every workflow. So that's something, if you're interested in that, go check it out. I am going to do a video of that at some point and show you guys how I use it and things that I've figured out with it. I kind of learned it from Dave Greco and I think it's Mark Brunet. I'm not too sure on how you say his last name. I've never heard him say his last name, but those are the 2 people that I've kind of learned it from. But I'm picking the last of my colors here. Like I said, I'm going to do a speed paint on this of the full process because this is not the finished picture, but giving you guys kind of a preview. You guys can check it out and see what I did. You get to see how I work, my flow, everything like that. And like I said, you know, I love this thing and the size of it is great for doing this kind of work. So what is my 6-month verdict of the XP Pen Artist 22R Pro? Buy. It's still going to be a buy for me. The price has dropped, I believe, once or twice since I purchased it. It actually dropped about 2 weeks after I bought it. So it is in an amazing price point. The screen real estate is huge. There are some things that bother me. There's some things that it doesn't do that modern and more up-to-date pen displays do, but you're getting size, you're getting the buttons on the side, you're getting the stand on the back. Most modern pen displays don't actually have a stand on the back, and you have to buy that separate between $100 or between $50 to I think $150. So that's an added cost that's not for this that's not built into this pen display. The non-laminated screen can be an issue, but I feel like when you calibrate it, you will have to calibrate it a couple times. When you do get it calibrated, it's pretty much in that sweet spot for you. Things like the lower resolution compared to some of the 4K displays. Honestly, unless you're working for or working with or for someone like Marvel, DC, Riot, anybody like that, I wouldn't worry about the resolution not being 4K, not even being 2.5K, because your delivery is going to probably be on screens or resolutions smaller than what this pen display is. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. I feel like when you buy a pen display, you're going to want to keep that pen display for the next 5 to 10 years minimum. This one has enough connections, I feel, in the back that you can use it with almost any computer that you had in the past, today, or in the future. And I think that is huge. Of course, there are some things that kind of pull it back and maybe might make you not think highly of this pen display, that being the fact that you have to plug it into the wall. But some, even modern pen displays, you still have to plug into the wall depending on their size. It doesn't have a lot of mobility, but with the included stand, when you do get it moved, you can set it up almost anywhere that you want to set it up. So I still believe that this is a good buy. I still feel like purchasing this pen display is good for any artist of almost any level. There's probably a few artists where I would say they definitely have their Wacoms, they have their Huion, they have all these other tablets and brands that they have the more expensive versions of. Those artists, I think, are in a different playing field than somebody like me. Even artists that I feel are doing art full-time and more professionally than anything that I've done would still benefit from something like this. So I still feel like this is definitely a buy. I don't have buyer's remorse. I freaking love this thing. And I don't foresee myself buying a new pen display unless, you know, somebody gives me one or there's a really good price on something like a 24 inch. I could move up to 24 inches, but I think that would be my only reason to move to a different pen display. So I'm gonna say go ahead and buy it. If you've been on the fence since you saw my first video and you're still thinking about it, go ahead and buy it. It's gonna be a good purchase for you. I think you're gonna have a lot of fun with it. I think you're gonna really freaking enjoy using this thing on a daily basis, and I think it's gonna make you think about art, digital art, a little bit differently than if you had something that was a little bit smaller or even an iPad. So yeah, make that purchase. And with that, my friends, I am out. I am the prize-winning Squid. I really appreciate you guys watching this video. If you watched the previous one and had some comments, some likes, anything like that, I really appreciate you guys sharing, liking, commenting, talking about the tablet and the pen displays with me. It means a lot to me. Please stick around for some of the other stuff that I'm going to be doing. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe. I have a lot of stuff coming down the pipe. I want to do voiceover speed paints. I want to do more vlog style things. I want to do some of the draw with me's or just draw along, or even just showing you guys my drawing process. I want to do a lot more stuff like that, and I feel like I'm going to have a lot more time here in the future to be able to do things like that. Also, by the time this video is posted up, my Patreon should be live. So if you guys want to watch me or even subscribe to me over on Patreon, it's patreon.com/theprizewinningsquid. I'm over there actually creating my new comic series, Talia. I'm showing some of the things that I'm doing behind the scenes, and also you're going to be able to see the webcomic and the physical comics as they come out or before they come out. You'll be able to be along for that process. Also, I'm going to have Patreon-only art projects that I do every month, and on one of the higher tiers, you're able to get some physical stuff from me throughout the year, some of my physical artwork, paintings, perlers that I mat to canvases, and things like that that I kind of want to just show off and give to people who really, you know, give to me and support me in that way. But either way, you know, it's $1 to subscribe and getting the thank yous on these videos. So I will be posting a lot more YouTube videos in the future, a lot more draw alongs, a lot more vlogs, some commentary while I show you guys speed paints that I've done. So I hope you guys stick around. I really appreciate you. And I'm out. I will see you guys next time. And thanks for watching. Squid salute.